I put the microphone further away because my voice is very loud.
It is prodigious.
Prodigious.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
they changed.
recording information is at the top now and not the bottom. I'm waiting for the light to go on. I'm looking where the light goes, but it's up there now. Oh, everything is different.
It is.
Must the things change, Kelly? Must they
Well, they
change?
do. Well, I'm looking at the interface here right now, and it says I'm the show manager, so I basically can do whatever I want. And if let's say we were doing a live broadcast, we can invite people to the backstage where they can watch and listen.
Backstage.
They can watch and listen and communicate through chat, and we can bring in anybody in backstage, whenever we want. But we're not
I,
doing a
I have
live
the
show.
president on the line. He would like the motorcade to go to the Congress, if that's okay. It'll be OTR, so there's no reason to do any prep. We just he's a he says he's having some trouble because he's steering the car
He's
himself from
steering.
the back seat.
Let's hang on a sec. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to another episode of this show. This warm and welcoming, embracing, lots of hugs and pats on the back, and well done and good show, Mister. My name is Kelly Wright.
And I'm James Ernest, and we're here all week, the podcast with no historical precedent under the laws of the United States.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's been a dumpster fire of a week.
I
Yeah.
so I don't know. Everyone is saying bombshell about things that are happening, about the Supreme Court ruling last Friday, about the January 6th hearings day by day. And yet I am not in any way surprised. I mean, I suppose it's akin to a bomb that we've been hearing whistling for like 6 years. So
Hmm.
if it's going to change some people's minds, that's cool. But I myself am not surprised. I mean, I like the details that we heard today, but I don't really like none of it changes my mind because it's not unobvious already.
No, am I surprised? No. Am I uh, just in disbelief in this weird dystopian
I'm not in
thing we're
disbelief.
in?
The thing about Trump reaching into the steering wheel from the back seat and trying to drive the car to where he wants it to go is like so funny.
It is funny. And the fact, a Secret Service guy tried to stop him and he apparently clutched the Secret
Hmm.
Service guy's throat.
Hmm.
Let's see what else did Donnie Trump have happen? Threw a plate against a wall because he was so angry.
Oh,
Um,
Kelly, he does that a lot.
apparently he does that a lot. And I'm not familiar. I'm not surprised that Baby Man has those reactions. I'm
Baby
just not.
man.
Baby Man.
That's president baby man.
That's President Baby
Even
Man.
when you're no longer president, your title remains president
Yep.
for life. Well, Kelly, it's time for our opening segment, Conversation Starters, sponsored this week by Discount Sam's Everyday Warehouse. Thanks to everything being politics this week, we decided to hunt for Conversation Starters political, and we were not disappointed. Here's question number 13 from printdiscuss.com. Kelly, what
Okay.
role does religion play in the politics of your country?
It shouldn't play anywhere in the politics of this country.
But this question does not contain the word should. Excuse me. That'll
Um,
be the COVID
what
starting this
role does
correction.
religion plays right now? Well, the extremists have infiltrated. They've done the long game, the long con on the Republican Party, and now there's religious extremists who have invaded the party and have totally changed the direction of it, the Republican Party. Now, there would be Republicans who say that's not true. It is true. There is a huge extreme segment of the Republican Party that is now blurring the lines between separation of church and state. So that's what's
Yeah, I
going on.
mean, but again, I'm not surprised. Everything that has transpired in the last few days, the last few weeks, is a course we've been on for the last few decades. So
Yeah.
it's frustrating, and I am sick of seeing all the things that say go out and vote, and because man, do I get out and vote? There's got to be some better way. But I am sort of pleased, I guess, at least that maybe it's not sustainable. That the majority, the numbers they keep showing in the opposition to what's going on keeps going up and up.
Hmm.
If only we could keep the minority from taking control. I don't know how to do that. But certainly
Okay.
voting
Well,
is not going to do it.
No, well, voting. Here's the thing, you have to vote in every election, not just the big ones. You have to start small as far as within where you live. That's where it starts, is there, and foments from there. So you have to be really involved in the
Well, that's a
politics of the
good
small
theory, but
towns.
A, I do all of those things, and B, I live in a state where everyone does votes with me. So my vote doesn't actually matter that much. I'm not saying I'm not doing it. I'm saying that I feel sort of like I should, move to a state that sucks and become a dissenting vote there. That would actually be, more
Oh, the
more
be
powerful than voting in
more
Seattle.
productive. I understand. However, we live in a bubble in this state. The area of Seattle is really blue compared to the rest of the state. So we're keeping that at bay by doing that here. So I don't
If you're
think
saying you want me to stay in your town, I agree. I will.
I
You
do. I
convinced
want you
me.
to stay here, but we can still help with the shit that's going on in the country in regards to writing senators, to donating money to causes that will help overturn this, to doing work within the community to caucus for your politicians that you believe in. That's what. Anyway, I'm tired. I'm going to take a
Janice
nap.
and the dozens
Thanks.
tell us what motivates you to lash out at the patriarchy and then get on with it. After you get home, please consider joining our Baker's Dozen on Patreon, where you can get early access to our videos, opinions, special content, and so much more. The link
And all
is
that.
in the thing. There we go. We
And
did
all that.
the opening segment.
We did. James, NASA has put out the call and it says, give us back our moon dust and cockroaches.
Did we have NASA's cockroaches? I guess I
Well,
should clean my basement.
the space agency has asked Boston based RR Auction to halt the sale of moon dust collected during the 1969 Apollo 11 mission
Uh,
that had subsequently been fed to cockroaches during an experiment to determine if the lunar rock contained any sort of pathogen that posed a threat to terrestrial life. So the NASA lawyer
wow.
said in a letter to the auctioneer that still belongs to the federal government. So the material from the experiment, according to this article that I've on mynorthwest.com, including a vial with about 40 milligrams of moon dust and 3 cockroach carcasses, is expected to sell for at least $400,000, but it has been pulled from the auction block. So yeah, so they want their moon dust and cockroaches. I know it's illegal. Isn't it illegal to own a piece of the moon? Isn't it illegal to have a moon rock?
I thought I spent $10,000 to own a piece of the moon. My little flag is up there somewhere. If I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
I've been couching everything with that phrase these days. If I'm not mistaken, Kelly,
if I'm not mistaken. So there's that. Let's see what else. Westworld season 4 has started. Did you watch the first three
I
seasons of
did.
it?
I watched the first 3 seasons of Westworld last year, and it left me feeling very confused. Like,
Oh,
like the first season is kind of when the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates start eating the tourists, and it sort of still makes sense because
yeah.
we're sort of still in the theme park. But then we just get outside of that and we start seeing I don't know, we start going in 7 different directions at once, and I can't understand anybody's motivations, and now everyone's disguised as each other. And I know that's supposed to be like edgy, but I just kind of gave up caring.
I know the third season pretty much creatively just went off the rails. Because as I was watching, I'm like, there is so much I'm trying to follow here, and I can't. It's a ridiculous maze of a show. Concept is great, love it, but as far as where they're going, I think they're going to now start eating the tail. I think they're
What would be cool is if during season 4, the characters in the show actually stepped out of the television and attacked me personally. That would be interesting, right? That seems like the next level for this show to take, and that's why I'm a little afraid to watch it.
only if TV was that interactive. Could you imagine?
Yeah, it'd be like video
Uh,
games.
it will just like the characters coming out of the TV to like sit in your home, eat your
Right.
food, be part of your life. It
I
just
wake
wouldn't
up and
be.
there's a Westworld robot with part of her face turn off, and she's just sort of sitting on my couch going, "So, what are we going to watch next?" And I'm like,
What are we watching?
"Ah!"
Tom Hanks. He had doubts over Forrest Gump's bus bench scenes. And this is something I learned about the movie. Um, he didn't think that the iconic bus bench scenes in the movie were going to make the final cut.
The framing device for the entire film, the narration of the film
Mhm.
that's wildly out of time order and strings it together like pearls on a Christmas tree.
Right.
He thought those weren't going to work.
He didn't think they were going to work. He said, what did he say? Tom said to Bob Zemeckis, "Is anyone going to care about this nut sitting on a bench? What is this? No one knows what's in this thing." I mean,
But
so
he's got other actors on the bench with him feigning interest and showing us, the audience, that what he's saying is worth listening to.
correct, correct. So he said they ended up shooting, and it was probably like 13 pages of dialogue that we had to shoot in a day and a half. It was written on cue cards. He said he didn't need the cue cards after a while because you get into it. So Bob Zemeckis said, "I don't know. It's a minefield, Tom. It's a minefield. You never know what people are going to take away from it." And it
Making
ends up
movies is like
being,
a box of chocolates.
exactly. I don't know. It's a minefield,
I don't
Jimmy.
know if Lieutenant Han is right and we all have a destiny, or if Darth Vader is right and we're gonna find ourselves floating home. Wait, I got those
it,
backwards.
well, it sounds good. It should be Forrest Gump in space. I would totally watch that movie. Um, so what's going on with you in this last week? What's happening?
Oh, well, so I think we probably talked about this a little bit last week, but my licensee, Greater Than Games, have elected to allow me to repost all the free Cheapass games that once were under my control. And so in the last week or two, I have gotten access to this massive tranche of free games, like PDF content, black and white games that I made in the late 90s that we
Wow.
recently sort of repackaged to give away for free, put on the Cheapass website, sold the company, quote unquote. And then like 6 months ago, they just, after not maintaining it for 3 years, they just shut it down. And so I'm like, is that going to open up again? And they were like, nah, why don't you just take them all back? And so they still have the license to like print those games, but they
Sure.
don't have the interest to maintain the IPs that they don't want to print. And so they're just like, here you go. So I've been rebuilding the entire Crab Fragment Games website to have a shop so that everything is searchable and people can pay for the PDFs if they want to, although they don't have to. And so yeah, that's been my life, is web development for the last week.
That's actually quite excellent to hear that you get your IP back. That's great.
I mean, what we're trying to do is jointly shepherd this IP to the point that people who care about it can find it, and maybe it can have some extended life. But it is a little frustrating because for the first 3 years of this deal, I tried to keep my hands off all that stuff just to make it
Right.
clear that it was somebody else's problem. And after they were like, "It's not our problem," I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll take it back." So anyway, yes, I do enjoy the creative liberty that it allows me to, when I want, go back to a game that I think might use a facelift and actually give it one and not have to petition somebody else to let me do that. But at the same time, it has been a crap ton of work, and I'm sure there's a lot more to come. What about you,
How
Kelly? What are
many?
you doing this
How
week?
well before I continue, how many titles? How many? You said you got a crap ton, but
When we published the book, we did a new PDF block every day. So there were 32. Um, During the Kickstarter campaign, there were 32 packages of cheap ass games that were just sort of like ready to rip. And those are the ones I've
mhm.
already posted. And then, but there were, I mean, if you count the titles, you get past 100 for the games that I published through Cheap Ass Games. So if any of those gets a like nice sort of pretty color version, free version, or whatever, like that'll keep me busy for years.
Cool. I love that. So what have I done in this past week? Well, I didn't have to go into the office at all last week, which was very nice because my charges were away at a conference in Las Vegas. So nobody was in. There was no reason for me to go into the office at all. Most of the senior staff were at this and it was a conference that was hosted by the company itself. So
Mm-hmm.
so they all went, which was great. Still working through boxes, found people to take away all the packing paper and recycle boxes. And let's see what else. Made my run to Costco. I have a standing freezer, and
Oh, that's
I
like a
now
regular freezer, but you don't have to sit at it all day. You can get your legs, stretch your legs, and just
exactly
work the frozen meat.
work the frozen meat. It's an upright freezer, and I had been wanting one since I've moved out of my mother's home because my mom had one and it always came in handy. So I finally got my upright freezer and went and stocked up on meats and delicious frozen items. And
Get yourself
um,
some meat for your upright freezer.
here's the one thing I realized. There's a it's not a syndrome. It's not a. It's called big box store rage. Are you familiar with this term?
I exhibit symptoms of rage whenever I leave the house. So I don't
Okay.
know
All
of
right.
any specific condition that would erupt in a big box store that might be in any way different from that.
Oh, okay. So you have just rage the moment you step out of your house. I have what I call what is big box store rage. So places like Costco, I get really angry because people seem to. It's not like I'm lashing out and screaming at people, but it's certainly
But
flames of
it's
hatred.
possible. It's right there under the
Oh, it's
surface.
right there. Flames of hatred on the sides of my face. Um, so, uh, because people aren't aware of space, they're in their own little world. They bump into you.
Carol
You park your.
Carol and I went to the coffee shop a couple of days ago, just the neighborhood coffee shop. We went for a walk because it was nice weather, and we were like, well, we should go somewhere. So we went to the coffee shop, and there's a guy in there, no mask on, you know, doesn't observe social distancing, and he decides to just keep creeping closer and closer to me until he pushes me basically into the corner. It's a
Oh my
tiny
God.
little shop. It used to
Yeah.
have tables in there. They don't anymore, but it's still like there's not enough room for two groups of people to stand. He just finally pushed me totally out the door.
Oh my
And I just
God.
waited for him to get his drink, and I went back in and got mine. But it was like people just don't get it.
Right. Right. And that's what it was. It had been a while since I had been into a Costco, and boy, did that I have the same rage with Trader Joe's. I have Trader Joe rage as well because people are just on top of you as you're like perusing the lovely selections of burrito bowls in the freezer aisle, and they're like literally reaching over you to like grab, and it's like rage. It's like, can you give me a minute? Just give me a minute, man. So I was reminded of, while I have a love-hate relationship with Costco, I was just reminded of how swift and strong my rage response is.
Well, you'll never get rage at Discount Sam's. I think it's time for a commercial break.
Oh, it's a time for a sponsor.
This episode of Here All Week is brought to you by Discount Sam's, the Everyday Warehouse. We have an advertising degree.
Folks, are you tired of paying full price?
Are you sick of buying great stuff every day when everyday stuff would do?
Then slide down to Discount Sam's, the everyday warehouse.
Discount Sam's has everyday things for your everyday life every day.
And Discount Sam has his very own advertising degree from Class Action University.
Class Action University is rated in the top 95% of English speaking universities worldwide for degrees in arithmetic, advertising, alphabetizing, and stakes.
Discount Sam's prices are very, very low every day. He pays for nothing if he doesn't have to, and he even sells ads inside his ads.
That's right, folks. Do you love familiar soda flavors but hate paying what they cost?
Then come down to Discount Sam's today for a 3-liter bottle of Dr. Original.
Dr. Original has the flavor you love at the price you can afford.
Enjoy the non-specific fruit and brown. This tastes familiar. I don't
What
know
is
what this
that?
is. Enjoy the non-specific fruit and brown flavors of your favorite medically themed soda for less than half the price.
How do they do it? You guessed it. Dr. Original got his medical degree from Class Action University.
Class Action University is ranked in the top 95% of English-speaking universities worldwide for mathematics, grocery studies, advertising, and soda medicine.
And if you trust Dr. Original, try Discount Sam's other famously flavored sodas like Lemonish, Dark Fruit, and Freedom.
It's the soda flavor that tastes exactly like the 4th of July.
Discount Sam's Everyday Warehouse is open all day, every day, so come down right now and shop for cheap stuff as much as you can afford.
We've got deals on near meat, ugly produce. We've got deals on near meat, ugly produce, fatty frozen things, and fireworks.
At Discount Sam's, we never take credit cards, only cash.
Like we always say, there's nothing strange about getting some change.
So pop down to Discount Sam's today for a 2-liter of Dr. Original or a hot bag of Chaplin's shoestring potato fries.
The only French fries that are up to 40% animal byproducts.
Visit Discount Sam's store and a half clearance center with belts but no pants, pops but no plants, light fixtures with no bulbs, and the Wall Street Journal.
And remember, every TV at Discount Sam's is not for sale. They're just there to show nonstop ads for Discount Sam's.
Mention Class Action University at the checkout and get 10% off your next 2 bottles of Dr. Original.
And while you're here, fill up the tank at Las Vegas, the gas station where you can try your luck and win gasoline, oil changes, and free coffee for life.
They have a gas degree from Class Action University.
Discount Sam's, stuff you don't need at a price you can afford.
We also do steaks.
Um,
Is that a puppy in the room?
it's a puppy outside the door being tortured because they
Oh,
can't
the
be close to
poor
me.
animal can't be close to you. That is a sad.
Yeah,
That's a sad thing. That'll
yeah.
well, discount Sam's. We do it once,
Disc-
and then it's done.
They get a free puppy at Discount Sam's.
While supplies last.
It's kind of like the non-specific fruit flavored brown soda. It's like God, what is it? Well, RC Cola is one of those things that come to mind, but there's like really off brands that I've had before, and I'm like,
Well,
what
that's
is
what
this?
I looked at the Dr. Pepper clone at Safeway, and I don't actually recall what it's called because my brain just filled in Dr. Original, and that was actually like the basis for the whole ad. Like, okay, that's a good name for that. I don't know what it's really called.
Now that also reminded me where they weren't trying to fake cola flavors or take non-specific. There was a soda club. Oh, look at you drinking your soda. I have hot tea in my little baby Yoda um, little thermos. It says "Not today, Muggle fuckers." So anyway, it says that there was a company or a chain store called Town Club Soda. I don't know if it was specifically a Michigan thing or a Midwest thing, but I haven't seen it anywhere else. So, Town Club was a store that you would go into and you would grab wooden crates and you would fill it with bottles of different flavors of
Yeah,
Town
yeah,
Club
sure.
soda. So, like orange and cherry and strawberry and, cream soda and root beer and things like that. My mom never would let us go there. And I was like always so mad about that because friends would have Town Club soda, when I'd go over there. But we never had it. So jealous, very jealous because I couldn't just go in and pick out, the sodas I wanted.
My mom
So,
would never let me go to the Paint Street Chemical Company, and so one night,
yeah. So there, I'm still bitter about Mom. I know you're listening. And I'm still bitter about Town Club soda. Thanks, Mom.
wow, hey mom, if you're listening, I have a list of bitter complaints.
Go for it, James. Go for it.
Oh man, she gave
Um,
away my Star Wars cards. What am I gonna do?
oh, did she really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts.
One card,
Uh,
$50,000. One card is worth $50,000.
no. No,
Yes.
no, no, no. Really?
One of
Which
those
one?
cards. There's a
Which
Luke
one?
Skywalker card from like a season 3. I looked randomly on eBay and I was like, I have to stop looking because individual cards from my collection are worth just like my house.
Oh, no.
I know,
Oh,
right?
no. That hurts. She didn't throw, my sister, we're digging up family secrets. It's not dirty laundry. When the
It's
Tigers
Dirty
won the
Laundry week on Here All Week.
when the Tigers won the World Series, um, Kirk Gibson was on the team, and I was actually a big fan of Kirk Gibson. And I kept the Detroit Free Press paper that had him on the cover, on the front page, celebrating. And I come home one day to find the paper has been shoved back in a weird way, and I pull it out. My sister needed a picture of Kirk Gibson for cut it right out of the front page and use it.
Yeah.
Oh, I was upset. I'm still bitter about that one.
Ouch.
I lost my Tigers World Series front page
The most
picture.
unexpected upset in the history of American football.
Well, actually, it's baseball.
I love
But
sports.
oh, do you? Yeah,
Oh, I'm all
row.
over it.
I know you are. There was a big row with the Mariners. Was it the Mariners? No, that just shows you my thing. Somebody got hit in the hand with a baseball and a big fight broke out. That's all I remember. So, um, anyway, James, since we do trivia a lot, I am just going to hit a random trivia generator button. I'm going to see what I'm going to come up for you. Okay.
I'm ready. I've spent my whole life getting ready for this randomly
Oh, good.
generated trivia quiz.
What is considered as the first daily comic strip in the U.S.? This is
Gasoline
an
Alley.
Oh, that's a good guess. It's Mutt and Jeff.
Oh, right.
Mutt and Jeff. Who reputedly told a customs officer, "I have nothing to declare except my genius"?
Oh, that would be Russell Crowe. No, but it should be. I don't know. Is that a quote from Einstein?
No, it's Oscar Wilde.
Oscar Wilde, of
Sounds
course it is,
sounds
of course
very
it is.
Oscar Wilde. Science. We're going to go into the science category. What is the term for the official record of a dog's ancestry?
Pedigree?
That is
The
correct.
dog
That is
dog the
correct.
dog family dog tree?
The family dog tree is a pedigree. Let's
There's a
see.
pedigree trying to get into your room right now.
In geography, the Musée d'Orsay in Paris was originally what?
A volcano, an active volcano in the center of Paris. I have no idea it was originally what.
It was a railway station.
Oh, okay. That makes
So
sense.
that's it. Goodness gracious, there's so much random stuff here. Entertainment. What is the name of the apartment complex the Jetsons live in?
Oh, wow. I have no idea.
Skypad Apartments.
Skypad. Okay. Skypad apps.
Skypad.
Good.
And one last one under science. If you suffer from chirospasm, what do you have?
Crabs. You're covered in crabs.
No, you have writer's cramp.
Oh,
So there you
that's
go,
the
chirospasm.
nice thing is there's two things that you can get from writing: writer's cramp and writer's block, but you can't get them at the same time.
I hope not, because that sounds like you would be in the bathroom for hours.
Well, you'd be you'd be hurting yourself from doing nothing. And I'm not sure that's possible. Well, Kelly, it's time for our interrupting segment, Media Res, where we take a break in our show to talk about movies and TV shows we're watching right now. What are you watching right now, Kelly?
Obi-Wan.
Oh, and so am I. Let's talk about Obi-Wan.
Let's talk about Obi-Wan.
We just finished
Uh,
episode 6 of season 1, the final, the one that stitches it all together, puts everyone back exactly where they started, does nothing, accomplishes nothing, and makes us all sad. What's your opinion?
my opinion is, I agree with your opinion. But one of the things that I realized, which I wasn't like, Darth Vader is like 34. He's just a young man.
Um, Hayden Christensen is like 34. I don't know. I mean, it's so difficult to separate that canon which has been recently written and that which was originally intended, because
Right.
even the original intent morphed from episode 4 to episode 5. Like, I don't know how old Darth Vader was supposed to be, right?
I,
That
I'm,
originally,
I'm, they never really discussed his age, but as far as when the helmet came off, and he was just this white, kind of eggy looking old guy, that he was an
eggy
old
looking
guy.
old guy. That's right. That
Yeah,
was
he was.
Oscar Wilde in a black helmet, but he was supposed to be Luke's father, so he should have been about the same age as, well, I mean, Luke's uncle, right? So, but they had, and that Owen Lars is kind of an old guy. Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah, the real trick, the difficult thing about doing any of these Star Wars series is there's going to be a group of fans who really are only going to watch it if it's got someone in it that they know, and
sure.
yet all that story, because you're inserting it into existing canon, is going to be sort of meaningless for those characters. You have to insert
Right.
new characters that are interesting and we care about, and also tell a story about them, and not it's a fool's errand, very difficult. And I usually tend to enjoy these things from a minute by minute. That's a cute outfit. That's a cute setup. Maybe that's a funny joke kind of a deal, and
Yeah,
try not to worry too much about the story, because I think it's just an impossible task.
got it. I'm also rewatching the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. Is that any better on second pass? I'm about halfway through my second pass of the Book of Boba Fett, but that
You
was a
know,
while
I
ago.
I enjoyed the first pass through it. I know people were like, "Oh, that the little scooter gang," and then it turns into basically just the Mandalorian again towards the end,
Right.
which
There's
is
two
great.
two episodes of Mandalorian season 3 kind of snuck in there.
Kind of snuck in there, so I that's why I like it, because as you can see, the child right behind me, a huge fan, super fan. So yes, I'm watching the Book of Boba Fett again. That's a tough one to say. So that's my oh, and also binging, of course, on HGTV home improvement shows. Of course. That's always my
You
guilty
sit in your
pleasure as
house,
well.
there's staring at boxes you haven't unpacked yet,
Correct.
and think to yourself, the best use of my time is to watch a TV show about manufactured drama in somebody else's house.
Of course, and the fact that I am so glad that we chose to paint our rooms very bright and vibrant colors, because the trend still with these shows is very soft, very
Yeah.
neutral, and it's like, "Nope, I really like my rainbow house. I'm really
I
happy
think if
with
you're
it."
gonna flip a house, you're gonna turn a lot more people off with the bright colors. If you wanna
Of
live there,
course.
you should paint it the colors that you wanna paint it.
Of course, and so we did. So there we are, and
Well,
that's what
Kelly,
I'm watching.
Last week, I watched a really horrible movie called The Card Counter. It pretends to be about gambling, but it's really about Abu Ghraib and PTSD, and that's a disappointment. But the gambling in this movie is so bad, and it's so easily researched too. And here is the best and worst part of this movie. It's a voiceover. It takes a couple minutes. We're watching a roulette table, and Oscar Isaac is telling us this: the smartest bet for a novice is red, black, and roulette. Your odds are 47.4%. You win, you walk away. You lose, you walk away. It's the only smart casino bet. Now, I think everyone should know that's just not true, but
No,
it would be so easy for someone to do just the tiniest bit of research. Like, even, I mean, the number he pulled out of thin air is the right number if you want to look at it from a certain perspective, but nobody who understands gambling would say that. They would say how much the house advantages, which is like, 4.5% or whatever that it
right.
comes to, right? So right away he said there's so many better bets in the casino for a novice. The craps is better, baccarat is better, many bets are better than roulette. I just don't get why people who make movies with gambling in the theme and the title don't hire someone uh to bounce this stuff off of.
Budget cuts. That's
I,
why.
but yeah, that's another thing. This thing looked like it was shot during the pandemic because every casino was like kind of spookily empty. Like there's
Oh,
a little cloud of extras gathered around where the scene will happen, and then there's this vast empty casino behind it.
emptiness behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me understand the quote you just said. He said to bet red and black.
Well, he's listing those as the two bets that are the best. You're not supposed to bet them both. You bet red or
No.
black is what that really means.
Okay, I'm
Right.
sorry. I misunderstood what you said because I'm like, why in the world would anyone walk up to a roulette table and put, I'm putting it on red and black? The
No,
dealer would look
no.
at you like you're insane.
Yeah, because that's just guaranteed to win you your money back 36 times out of 38 and then lose everything on those last two. Um,
Right.
no, no, no. Red black is how he says it, but it means one or the other, not both. It's
Okay. All
it's
right.
because someone was clever enough to say you can't say always bet on red because black is the same bet, but yeah, then they went on to say all the things in the dumbest way. There's a so this guy goes to jail and learns to count cards. Okay, I totally believe that. The system he uses is a rather weak system. I mean, if I had 8 years, I might learn a level 2 system, but whatever. He learns a level 1 system. But then the one time you actually see the cards he's playing in the blackjack hand up close, he has a 12. The dealer has a 16, and he takes a hit. And there is no strategy, even if you're playing the count. There's no strategy table in the world that tells you to do that. It's just kind of like you could have asked somebody.
Like you could have just looked at the dealer and said, "What do I do?"
And he wins, of course, because he gets a 5 and the dealer gets 2 10s. But and he gathers his chips up and walks away from the table. And I wanted the dialogue to be, "Oops, I did that. I'm so embarrassed. I'm never playing blackjack again." But that card counting skill that he has also somehow translates to doing magic tricks and also playing poker, which is a completely different skill that doesn't require card counting at all. So I don't understand this movie. It's
Wow, it
it's
was
it's a thriller. It's got good people in it. It's just the gambling in this movie, which I have to call out because the title is about gambling. I have to call it out.
right.
It's just not good.
And in the end, you said it ended up being about Abu Ghraib and what?
PTSD. I mean, this guy was a low level. He was a PFC in Abu Ghraib who went to jail for stuff that his superiors told him to do, and his superiors were private contractors, and they never got in trouble. And that's an interesting sort of setup and political statement. And okay, whatever. But I'm not talking about that. I have never been to prison, much less Abu Ghraib. I don't have any idea whether that stuff is realistic or not. I do
Right.
know the gambling. The only parts of the gambling that are right are literally like read word for word out of the how to play blackjack card that they give you at the casino.
Ah. Well, with the bark of the dog, that tells us we're done.
It's time to let the dog in and ease his suffering.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us today. As always, your time is precious, and we appreciate you spending that precious time with us. Like and subscribe, click the thing. The link is in the thing. Please join our Patreon. Be a part of the Baker's Dozen. You can watch us on YouTube as well, here all week with Kelly and James. You can subscribe to our Twitter. HAW with K and J is the name. I will put that as well into the page. Be kind to yourself, be kind to your family. How about being kind to your friends, your neighbors, your community? Because we are all going through it. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Kelly Wright.
And I'm James Ernest, and we're here all week. You could make a soundproof dog carrier. You could put the animal in a little private box, and he could be right there in the room with you, yelping his little head off, and no one would know.
Wouldn't hear a thing.
Yeah,
Basically, I could just put him in a gun safe, right?
sure.
Fireproof gun
Put a
safe.
trigger lock on that animal. Then
Okay.
people won't. They won't discharge him by mistake. That's
Correct.
a lot of small pet fatalities result when
Of when the dog discharges
someone is
too
cleaning the dog
unexpectedly,
or
and he
showing it off
discharges.
to their friends, and there's an unexpected
I
discharge. Always
I don't think that
never
means what
point
you
a
think it
dog
means.
at anyone.
No.
Always assume the dog is
Always
loaded.
treat a dog as loaded. Always.